The starport shimmered like a jewel in the vast blackness of space, a bustling hub where countless species and civilizations traded goods, ideas, and influence. The orbiting space station, Nexus Prime, was a beacon of advanced technology, its gleaming spires and docking bays humming with endless activity. Among the 100 ships docked in the sprawling ports, one stood out, not for its size or grandeur, but precisely because it seemed out of place. The Resolute was no sleek cruiser or massive battle dreadnought. It was small, barely larger than a common transport vessel, and its hull bore the faint scars of age and countless repairs. Painted a muted gray with faded patches, it looked more like a relic from humanity's early days in space than a serious contender in galactic affairs. As the Resolute slid into the docking bay, a murmur rippled through the crowd of aliens gathered nearby. Many paused their conversations and watched with thinly veiled amusement. Holo ads flickered to life around the port, broadcasting live images of the ship and its crew. "Is that human?" A tall insectoid merchant hissed, antenna twitching, in disbelief. "Barely worth our time," replied a reptilian nobleman with a sneer, his scales shimmering in disdain. "Primitive species still crawling out of their homeworld's mud. That ship is a joke." A nearby crowd of traders and diplomats laughed outright, broadcasting snide comments on social feeds and betting on how long the ship would last in the galaxy's real politics. Inside the Resolute, Captain Jara Steele stood at the command deck's viewport, her dark eyes scanning the space station's intricate architecture. She was calm, almost serene. But beneath that calm burned a fierce determination. Her crew, a tight-knit group of humans trained to face impossible odds, moved with quiet efficiency around the cramped bridge. "Report," Jara said, voice steady and controlled. Lieutenant Malik, the ship's tactical officer, swiped a few controls. "No immediate threats detected, Captain. We're being watched, but no aggressive moves. So far, just the usual curiosity and mockery." Jara allowed herself a brief, dry smile. "Let them watch. Let them mock. They don't understand what we're carrying." Behind them, the cargo bay's airlock hissed open, revealing a small, heavily shielded crate. It hummed softly with contained power, an experimental quantum energy core, capable of revolutionizing power generation. It was the key to humanity's future, and the reason the Resolute had made this perilous journey across hostile space. Suddenly, a ripple of movement on the station caught Jara's attention. Across the docking bay, an alien official approached, flanked by armed guards. The official's towering frame was clad in ceremonial armor, adorned with symbols of a powerful empire known for its disdain toward humanity. "You are the human vessel Resolute," the official stated, his voice cold and commanding. "You bring this primitive cargo into our territory without permission. Explain yourself." Jara stepped forward, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We are here on a diplomatic mission, carrying technology meant to benefit all civilized species. Our goal is cooperation, not conflict." The official's eyes narrowed. "Your species has never contributed anything but chaos. Why should we trust you now?" Before Jara could answer, a booming voice echoed through the bay, broadcast live by station cameras and transmitted to countless viewers. "Why waste time?" sneered an alien commentator known across the galaxy for his biting sarcasm. "Look at their ship, barely a dinghy. They carry their precious cargo like a toddler clutches a toy. Pathetic." The crowd erupted in laughter. Some even sent hollow projections of ancient human ships, portraying them as relics of an unsophisticated past. Jara's jaw clenched. "Let them laugh," she murmured. "We'll show them what humanity can do." Back on the bridge, Echo, the ship's AI, chimed in with its soft, calm voice. "Captain, sensors indicate several shadow ships maneuvering in the outer docking rings, likely mercenaries or worse." "Prepare for departure," Jara ordered. "We leave before they decide to make this a battle." The crew moved swiftly, anticipation mixing with a silent resolve. The Resolute powered up its engines, its hull glowing faintly as the advanced drive systems engaged. Outside, the shadowy figures watched, their expressions shifting from amusement to caution. As the ship disengaged from the station, Jara's eyes locked onto the viewport one last time. "They mocked the ship," she said quietly. "They mocked the crew. The galaxy will remember this moment, not as a joke, but as the day humanity refused to be underestimated." The Resolute slipped into the black, tiny but unyielding, carrying not just a cargo of technology, but the hopes of a species ready to rise. The Resolute glided through the glittering expanse of space, its sleek, weathered hull reflecting distant stars. Inside the cramped command deck, the hum of the engines and the soft clicking of consoles filled the air. Captain Jara Steele stood near the navigation panel, her eyes sharp and alert. The cargo crate containing humanity's revolutionary quantum energy core sat secured behind reinforced bulkheads, humming faintly like a heartbeat. The ship's AI, Echo, monitored every system silently, its voice a calm presence in the tension-filled cockpit. Course set for the orbital relay at Andros 9. Estimated arrival in 7 hours. No hostile contacts detected so far. Jara nodded. "Good. We need to get that prototype to the Coalition research station on Andros 9 before word of our arrival." Spreads. Lieutenant Malik, seated at the tactical console, scrolled through incoming communications. "Captain, sensors are picking up faint signals, unknown craft trailing us at a distance. Signature suggests mercenary vessels fast and lightly armed." "Mercenaries," Jara muttered, lips tightening. "Looks like the word is out about our cargo sooner than we thought." Suddenly, Echo interrupted with a sharp alert. "Incoming. Transmission on encrypted channel, Captain. Unknown origin." Jara pressed the communicator. A grainy image flickered to life, showing a human woman's face, her features hard and tired. "Captain Steele, this is Zara Klein," the woman said, urgently. "You're being hunted. The prototype you're carrying has attracted dangerous attention. Trust no one." Jara's heart quickened. "Who are you? How do you know about our mission?" Zara's gaze hardened. "Former Coalition operative. I was betrayed, left for dead. The mercenaries chasing you are after that tech for the highest bidder. You'll need every ounce of caution and every trick in your playbook." Before Jara could reply, the transmission cut off. "Echo, trace that signal. Find her," Jara ordered. "Signal source is beyond reach at the moment," the AI responded. "But her warning aligns with detected hostiles." The crew braced as the sensors suddenly flared red. "Multiple contacts closing in. 4 ships at high speed. Range, 5,000 kilometers," Malik reported. "Battle stations," Jara commanded. "Deploy countermeasures and prepare for evasive maneuvers." Outside the viewport, distant dots flickered to life. Sleek, jagged vessels darting like sharks closing in on prey. The mercenaries were fast, but the Resolute was nimble. Jara's fingers danced over controls, weaving through asteroid fields and debris clouds using the environment to mask their signature. "We're hitting the dead zone near the Vale Nebula," Malik said. "Sensors are degraded, perfect for an ambush." Jara didn't flinch. "Good. We'll use the nebula's interference to our advantage. Echo, activate adaptive shields to maximum." The ship vibrated as powerful energy fields rippled across its hull, shimmering with a pale blue glow. The mercenaries opened fire, laser blasts streaking through space, some hitting the ship's shields, others missing narrowly. "Shields holding at 70%, Echo reported. "Hull integrity stable." Jara gritted her teeth. "Return fire on their engines. Disable but don't destroy. We don't want to leave wreckage that could be traced." The Resolute fired precision bursts from its pulse cannons. One mercenary, ship exploded in a flash of fire, but the others veered away, unwilling to risk full engagement. "Partial success," Malik said. "They're regrouping." Suddenly, the ship jolted violently. "Hull breach in Sector 4, internal pressure dropping," Echo warned. "Damage report," Jara barked. Engineer Park's voice crackled through comms. "Hull plating compromised by a micro-missile. Ceiling breach now, but we've lost life support in one compartment." Jara took a deep breath. "Keep damage control teams active. Malik, prepare for emergency jump if needed." As the tension escalated, Jara glanced at the secure cargo bay where the quantum energy core pulsed steadily. Its contained power was unlike anything the galaxy had seen, but it was also a beacon drawing every predator within reach. "Captain?" Echo's voice dropped. "Unknown ship detected, cloaked, approaching fast from portside." Jara's eyes narrowed. "A trap." The cloaked ship decloaked abruptly, revealing a sleek black vessel bristling with weapons. Its emblem, a twisted serpent wrapped around a broken star, marked it as part of a notorious mercenary syndicate known for ruthless strikes. "Signal them," Jara ordered. "Let's see what they want." A harsh synthetic voice crackled over the comms. "Human vessel resolute. Surrender your cargo and we may consider sparing your lives." Jara's smile was cold. "You're outnumbered and outgunned. We won't surrender." The Resolute surged forward, engines blazing, weaving through the nebula's glowing gases. A fierce battle erupted. Laser beams crossed in deadly arcs, engines roared under strain, and every crew member fought to keep the ship alive. Through it all, Jara's resolve burned brighter. This mission wasn't just about delivering technology. It was about proving humanity's worth to a galaxy that had mocked them for too long, and the Resolute was only getting started. The Resolute tore through the Veil Nebula's swirling gases, engines flaring as Captain Jara Steele fought to keep her battered ship alive. Warning lights flashed across the command deck, filling the cramped space with a strobe of red and orange. The relentless mercenary fleet wasn't giving up. They pursued with surgical precision, intent on claiming the quantum core. "Shields are holding at 55%, Captain," Lieutenant Malik reported, fingers flying over the tactical console. "Engines are strained but stable. We've lost 2 pulse cannons to enemy fire." Jara's jaw clenched. "How close are they?" "Closing fast. Their lead frigate is within 10,000 kilometers and locking weapons," Malik said. Echo's calm voice cut through the chaos. "Enemy sensors are compromised by the nebula's interference. We can exploit this, Captain." "Good," Jara said, scanning the holographic tactical display. "Prepare for hit-and-run maneuvers. We use the nebula to blind them, then strike when they least expect it." The Resolute shuddered as another blast slammed into its hull, sparks flying along conduits. Engineer Park's voice crackled in overcomms. "Hull breach in engineering. Patch teams en route, but we're losing power to the aft thrusters." "Keep it together," Jara urged. "Malik, coordinate with Echo. Let's confuse their targeting systems." As the ship lurched deeper into the nebula, waves of charged particles scrambled enemy sensors. The mercenary fleet's approach slowed, their targeting erratic. Jara seized the moment. "Fire the plasma disruptors," she ordered. Bright bolts of plasma streaked from the Resolute, arcing through the nebula's haze to slam into enemy frigates. The leading ship faltered, systems flickering before shutting down. "Completely, we've disabled their flagship," Malik exclaimed, but victory was short-lived. Another frigate surged forward, ramming the Resolute's starboard side. Alarms blared as the ship groaned under the impact. "Hull integrity critical. 40%, Echo warned. "Structural. Damage detected in cargo bay bulkhead." Jara's eyes snapped to the cargo bay status panel. The quantum core's containment field flickered ominously. "Is the prototype secure?" she demanded. "Containment stable, but weakening," Park answered. "We're patching, but it won't hold long under this stress." "Then we don't have much time." The Resolute slipped into a dark pocket of the nebula, engines sputtering. Jara ordered the crew to prepare for close-quarters combat. "Malik, ready boarding defenses. If they try to breach, we fight tooth and nail." The mercenaries were relentless. Sensors picked up small attack craft swarming like hornets, their disruptor pulses tearing at the ship's armor. Suddenly, Echo's voice took on an edge of urgency. "Captain, tactical anomaly detected. I recommend activating Adaptive Shield Protocol Delta 9. "Do it," Jara commanded. The Resolute's hull shimmered as the shields reconfigured, an experimental technology designed to absorb and redistribute incoming energy. The next wave of enemy fire bounced harmlessly off the energized field. "Shields at 80%, Malik said, relief palpable. Jara pressed her fist into the console. Now, Echo, override their sensor jamming. Let's give them a taste of our own medicine. The AI unleashed a countermeasure wave, hacking into enemy targeting systems and scrambling their weapon locks. Enemy ships floundered, forced to disengage momentarily. Taking advantage of the confusion, the Resolute surged forward with renewed vigor, weaving through asteroid debris. Jara's voice was steady but fierce. Prepare the gravity pulse cannon. Target their bridge. Malik's eyes gleamed with determination. Charging, firing in 3, 2, 1. A concentrated blast of warped gravity slammed into the nearest frigate, cracking its hull and throwing it off course. The mercenaries staggered, losing formation, but Jara knew better than to celebrate. The mercenary fleet was vast and ruthless. Echo, scan for reinforcements, and keep that prototype stable. We can't afford a failure. Suddenly, a sharp ping echoed through the comms. Echo's tone was somber. Captain, unidentified vessel approaching at high speed from the starboard flank. Cloaked signature detected. Jara's heart skipped. Another trap. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Malik, ready torpedo bays. The new arrival decloaked, a massive cruiser unlike any the Resolute had seen. Its black hull was etched with scars from countless battles, and its weapons bristled like a sea of knives. The mercenary commander's voice crackled over the comms, dripping with contempt. Resolute, you've forced our hand. Surrender now, and your crew may live. Jara's eyes burned with defiance. Never. The Resolute twisted and darted, a tiny dart in the shadow of a giant. It was outmatched in firepower, outnumbered in ships, and pressed to the brink. But humanity's spirit was far from broken. As missiles streaked toward them, Jara gritted her teeth and whispered, "Hold the line. This is our trial by fire." The Resolute was surrounded. The massive mercenary cruiser loomed like a dark god of war, its weapons systems humming in lethal anticipation. Behind it, the crippled frigates limped, some ablaze, others struggling to regroup. Captain Jara Steele's grip tightened around the console as alarms blared and warning lights flickered. "We're at 50% hull integrity," Engineer Park reported breathlessly. "Shields are dipping under sustained fire. We won't last long." "Echo, status on the quantum core containment?" Jara demanded. "Containment field is weakening. Structural damage to the cargo bay is expanding. Critical failure estimated in T-15 minutes unless repairs succeed." Jara's eyes hardened. "Then it's time to end this." She rose from her chair and strode toward the auxiliary control panel, where a secure console sat hidden beneath a reinforced panel. Only the captain and a handful of crew knew the code to access it. "Echo, initiate protocol blacklight," she ordered. A low hum filled the room as the ship's systems rerouted power, flooding the Resolute's core. With energy, the hum quickly deepened into a powerful vibration that seemed to resonate through the very hull. "What is that?" Malik asked, voice tight with curiosity and fear. Jara's lips curled in a grim smile. "The secret weapon they thought we'd never use." The Resolute's hidden armament was unlike any other in the galaxy, an experimental gravimetric weapon developed in the deepest secrecy on Earth, designed to manipulate space-time itself. It didn't destroy ships outright. Instead, it bent gravity fields around them, disabling engines, sensors, and weapons without a single casualty. The mercenary cruiser's weapons suddenly sputtered and went dead, systems flickering in confusion. "What just happened?" one of the mercenary officers shouted over the comms. Jara's voice was cold and steady. "Gravity pulse field activated. Your engines and weapons are offline." Outside, the Resolute shimmered as the weapon's invisible field enveloped the enemy fleet. Ships slowed, drifting like helpless prey caught in a spider's web. The mercenary commander's rage was palpable through the comms. "This is a violation of engagement protocols. You will pay for this insolence." But there was no time for threats. The Resolute surged forward, using the moment of vulnerability to strike. "Fire pulse cannons on full spread," Jara ordered. Bright. Arcs of energy flared from the Resolute, targeting critical systems on the now paralyzed enemy ships. Without their engines or weapons, the mercenary vessels were easy prey. One frigate exploded in a ball of fire, Another spun helplessly, out of control. The massive cruiser groaned under the assault, systems failing in cascade. Hull breaches detected across enemy fleet. Echo reported. Surrender signals detected on 2 frigates. Jara hesitated only a moment before replying, "Hold fire. No more destruction than necessary. We want them alive." The mercenary commander's voice cracked with fury. "You will regret this day, humans." The gravity pulse field remained active, and the Resolute slipped away from the battlefield, engines blazing. The enemy fleet was crippled but alive, a silent warning to others who might dare challenge humanity. On the bridge, the crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. "Damage report," Jara demanded. Park's voice was steady but exhausted. "Hull integrity stable at 45%, shields holding at 60%. Cargo bay still compromised, but containment has stabilized with field reinforcement." "Good," Jara said. "We survived, but this won't be the last challenge." Echo interrupted with a new alert. "Incoming encrypted transmission, Captain. Origin Galactic Council Command." Jara frowned. "Patch it through." The holographic image of a stern-looking alien official flickered to life. His eyes were cold, and his expression unreadable. "Captain D. Steele," he said, "your use of gravimetric weapons has caused significant concern. The Galactic Council demands an immediate explanation for your actions." Jara held his gaze steadily. "Our actions saved lives, including many of your own. Ships. Humanity does not seek needless bloodshed, but we will defend ourselves and our future." The official's eyes narrowed. "The Council will investigate. Until then, you are ordered to stand down and report to the nearest station." Jara's voice was firm. "We'll comply, but make no mistake, the galaxy is changing, and humans will no longer be dismissed or mocked." As the transmission ended, the crew exchanged looks. The Resolute was battered but unbroken. The weapon had revealed a new side of humanity, unpredictable, resourceful, and far more dangerous than anyone expected. "Prepare for the jump to Andros 9, Jara ordered. "We've sent a message loud and clear." Echo's calm voice echoed in the silence. "Calculating jump coordinates. Ready in T-minus 30 seconds." The Resolute surged forward, light trailing behind as it slipped into hyperspace, carrying with it the hopes of a species that refused to be underestimated. The Resolute emerged from hyperspace just outside the orbital research station at Andros 9. The gleaming ring of the station floated serenely against the black backdrop of space, its massive solar arrays and communications dishes sprawling like a mechanical sun. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense. The crew had survived their brutal encounter, but they knew the battle was far from over. Captain Jara Steele paced the command deck, thoughts heavy with the weight of what lay ahead. The Galactic Council's demand to stand down was more than a diplomatic reprimand. It was a warning. Somewhere in the labyrinth of interstellar politics, enemies lurked, ready to use every tool to keep humanity confined to the galaxy's sidelines. Lieutenant Malik tapped his fingers nervously on the console. "Captain, we've received a discreet invitation from Council Representative Varrock. He wants to meet privately." Jara frowned. "Varrock? The same official who questioned us right after the battle?" Malik nodded. "Yes." His tone was more conciliatory this time. "Said it's urgent and confidential." Jara's eyes narrowed. "Set the coordinates, we'll dock and meet him, but keep the ship on alert, no surprises." The Resolute slid gracefully into the station's docking bay, greeted by the usual bustle of scientists, diplomats, and security forces. Jara and Malik, accompanied by Echo's holographic presence, made their way through the labyrinthine corridors to the Council's private chambers. Representative Varrock awaited them, his expression unreadable behind the polished glass of his office. The room was sparse, dominated by a holographic star map flickering softly in the center. "Captain Steele," Varrock began, voice low and deliberate, "the Council is aware of the growing interest in the quantum core you carry. But there is something else, something you have yet to uncover." Jara leaned forward, eyes sharp. "What do you mean?" Varrock gestured to the star map. There are factions within the Council who see humanity's rise as a threat. They have allies in the mercenary syndicates and covert operations aimed at sabotaging your mission. Malik's brow furrowed. You mean there's a conspiracy against us? Varrock nodded gravely. Yes, and it goes deeper than you realize. The quantum core is more than just a power source. It holds secrets that could alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Jara's mind raced. What kind of secrets? Varrock hesitated. There are rumors that the core's technology is linked to ancient artifacts found on Earth, remnants of a lost civilization that once spanned the stars. If these secrets are weaponized, it could destabilize entire systems. Echo's holographic form flickered beside Jara. Captain. Classified. Data from Coalition archives supports this theory. The artifacts suggest advanced manipulation of space-time, beyond current understanding. Jara's gaze hardened. Then our mission is not just about survival, it's about protecting that knowledge. Varrock's expression softened slightly. Exactly, but you must be careful. There are those who would kill to control the technology. Your recent battle was just the beginning. Suddenly, the chamber's doors hissed open and a squad of armed guards stepped in. Representative Varrock, a voice called urgently. There's an emergency in the docking bay. Unidentified boarding party detected. Jara's heart pounded. We're under attack? Varrock nodded grimly. It appears the conspirators are already making their move. Without hesitation, Jara turned to Malik. Prepare the ship. We need to evacuate and secure the core. As alarms echoed through the station, chaos erupted. Scientists and diplomats scrambled for cover as armed mercenaries and saboteurs stormed the docking bays. Jara and her crew fought their way back, exchanging fire with the attackers amid the station's gleaming corridors. The Resolute's engines roared to life as the crew sealed bulkheads and raised defensive shields. Jara gritted her teeth, clutching the console. We're leaving now. With a blast of thrusters, the Resolute slipped free of the station just as explosions rocked the docking bays. The attackers' mission to seize the quantum core had failed, for now. Captain, Malik said breathless, this conspiracy is bigger than we thought. We can't trust anyone. Jara nodded. We'll have to fight shadows and ghosts, but we won't back down. Humanity's future depends on it. As the Resolute vanished into the starry void, carrying its precious cargo and the weight of secrets, the galaxy watched, and wondered if the underdog human ship could truly change the course of history. The Resolute drifted silently in a shadowed sector far from the bustling politics of the Galactic Council. The ship's worn metal gleamed faintly under distant stars, a lone beacon carrying a cargo of immeasurable value and danger. Captain. Jara Steele stood in the dim glow of the command deck, eyes scanning the star charts. The attack at Andros 9 had made one thing clear. Enemies lurked in every corner of the galaxy, and the conspiracy was deeper than anyone had imagined. Wow. Can't keep running, Jara said quietly. If we're to protect the quantum core and humanity's future, we need allies. But who can we trust? Lieutenant Malik frowned. Most of the council is compromised or too cautious to help. The mercenary syndicates are our enemies. That leaves outlaws, rebels, fringe groups operating outside the law, Jara finished. They're dangerous, but sometimes necessity demands unorthodox alliances. Echo's hologram flickered into existence. I have located a possible contact, an independent faction known as the Scylla Collective. They operate in the Outer Rim, outside council jurisdiction. Jara nodded. Send them a message. Carefully. Minutes stretched into hours as the Resolute waited, cloaked and silent. Then a response came, a coded transmission laced with cryptic warnings and cautious acceptance. The Scylla Collective was led by a human named Ronnie Vox, a former Coalition pilot turned renegade. His reputation was that of a mercenary with a conscience, someone who had seen the worst and chosen his own path. Jara prepared for the meeting, the weight of the mission heavy on her shoulders. When the Resolute docked with the Scylla's hidden station, a colossal wreck of twisted metal and reclaimed starship parts, Jara and Malik stepped onto the roughened platform. Ronnie Vox awaited them, tall and lean, with eyes sharp as a hawk's. "Captain Steele," he greeted with a wry smile. "I hear you're carrying a little piece of the future." Jara met his gaze. "And I hear you don't play by anyone's rules. That's why I'm here." Ronnie chuckled, nodding toward the bustling hangar behind him. "We survive by being smarter, faster, and more unpredictable than our enemies. But what you're carrying, it changes the game." Malik's voice was cautious. "We need allies, and we need information. The Council is compromised." Ronnie's smile faded. "You're right. But alliances with rebels come with strings attached." Jara stepped forward. "Name your price." Ronnie's eyes gleamed with a mixture of respect and calculation. "I'll help you get the core to safety, but you owe me a favor in return. One I'll call in when the time is right." Jara weighed the offer carefully. "Deal." Over the following days, the Scylla Collective's engineers worked alongside the Resolute's crew, repairing battle damage and reinforcing the ship's defenses. In the smoky, neon-lit corridors of the station, whispered conversations and clandestine deals shaped the fragile trust forming between the two groups. One evening, as Jara and Ronnie stood overlooking the jagged asteroid field surrounding the station, she asked, "Why help us? What's in it for you?" Rainey's expression darkened. "I lost everything to the Council's corruption, my family, my honor. If humanity rises, it disrupts the balance of power, and maybe gives folks like me a chance at redemption." Jara nodded, understanding the scars behind his words. "Then we fight together." But the calm was deceptive. Echo's sudden alert shattered the quiet. "Captain, multiple incoming contacts detected, unknown origin, fast approach vector." Jara's hand went to her weapon. "Enemy ships?" "No," Malik said, scanning frantically. "They're flagging friendly, but their transponder codes don't match any authorized fleets. The Resolute and the Scylla station's defenses readied as sleek ships emerged from the shadows, black ships bearing no insignia, sleek and silent as predators. A message pulsed through the comms. "Captain Steele, this is Admiral Tarek of the Coalition Remnant Fleet. We've come to offer support and a warning." Jara's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Tarek's voice was grave. "The conspiracy within the Council is far worse than, we've been fighting a shadow war for years. We want to join forces to expose it." Ronnie stepped closer. "I don't trust anyone wearing a badge these days." Jara's mind raced. Could the Coalition Remnant be genuine allies or another piece in the conspiracy's deadly puzzle? "We'll hear you out," she said finally. "But trust is earned, not given." As the Resolute prepared to engage with this new faction, Jara realized the war for humanity's future was only just beginning. In a galaxy of shifting loyalties and hidden agendas, the strongest weapon might be the one you least expect: trust. The Resolute drifted in orbit around the Scylla Collective's station, a fragile calm masking the storm brewing beneath. Captain Jara Steele stood rigid on the command deck, her mind racing with the news from Admiral Tarek's fleet. A shadow war within the Council that threatened not only humanity, but the entire galaxy's fragile balance. "We need to verify their claims before we commit," Jara said, voice low but firm. "Malik, prep a recon drone. Echo, scan their fleet for any signs of deception." Malik nodded, already typing commands into the console. "Deploying drone now." Outside, the sleek ships of the Coalition Remnant glided closer, their black hulls blending into the void. But inside the Resolute, tension crackled like static electricity. Trust was a currency more precious and dangerous than any weapon. As the drone fed live images and data, Echo's voice cut in, crisp and unnerving. "Captain, unusual encrypted transmissions detected between the Coalition fleet and unknown external sources. Traffic patterns match known covert Council agents." Jara's heart sank. "Are they working with our enemies?" "Possibly," Echo confirmed. "Further analysis required." The door hissed open, and Lieutenant Malik stepped back in, face pale. "Captain, you need to see this." He handed her a datapad displaying intercepted comm logs. The messages were coded but contained a chilling directive. Ensure the quantum core does not reach Andros 9. Use all means necessary. Jara's stomach twisted. The coalition remnant had been compromised, used as pawns by the conspiracy. The very allies they sought to trust were agents of their enemies. She straightened, voice cold as steel. "Prepare the ship for immediate departure. We're not safe here." Suddenly, the station's alarms blared. An explosion rocked the hangar deck. The Scylla Collective's engineers scrambled, their faces tight with panic. "Saboteurs," Rain Vox growled, storming onto the bridge. "They're here. They want the core." Jara nodded grimly. "Lock down the ship. Malik, seal all bulkheads and prepare to repel boarders." The Resolute's crew sprang into action, activating defensive systems and manning weapon stations. Outside, sleek enemy craft clashed with Scylla fighters in a deadly ballet of lasers and explosions. "Incoming boarding pods detected," Echo warned. "Multiple vectors converging on airlocks." Jara gritted her teeth. "Hold the line. We fight or we die." The first breach came at the starboard airlock. Armed mercenaries poured in, their armor glinting with council insignia twisted into symbols of rebellion. The Resolute's crew met them with fierce resistance, blaster fire and close-quarters combat in the claustrophobic corridors. In the chaos, Jara found herself face-to-face with a familiar figure, Commander Alaric, her former mentor-turned-traitor. "You should have stayed loyal," Jara spat, raising her weapon. Alaric sneered. "Loyalty is a luxury we can't afford, Captain. The galaxy needs order, and the Council will impose it with or without you." Their weapons discharged simultaneously. Jara's shot grazed Alaric's shoulder. His retaliatory blast forced her to dive for cover. "Echo, track his squad," Jara ordered, crawling behind a bulkhead. As the battle raged, the Resolute's power flickered, systems failing under enemy assault. Engineer Park's voice came through the comms, strained but determined. "I'm rerouting power to shields and weapons, but we're barely holding." Jara's mind raced. They couldn't afford to lose the core, not now, not after everything. "Malek, deploy the gravity pulse cannon. Target the boarding pods." The weapon roared to life, a ripple of warped gravity smashing through the hangar. Boarding pods were crushed, their occupants thrown into the void. The sudden blast bought precious time, but then Echo's voice went cold. "Captain, critical warning. Quantum core containment is failing. Structural damage is beyond repair." Jara's heart dropped. "Park, what's the status?" "I'm trying, but the damage is extensive. We need to evacuate the core, now." Jara's gaze hardened. "Get the core to the auxiliary pod. Malik, prepare for emergency launch." The crew worked with desperate speed, loading the fragile quantum core into the escape pod. Outside, enemy forces pressed harder, determined to stop them. As the pod sealed and launched, Jara turned to face Alaric, fury blazing in her eyes. "This isn't over," she vowed. Alaric's cold smile was the last thing she saw before the Resolute's automated systems initiated emergency protocols, sealing off compromised sections and preparing for a swift retreat. The betrayal had cut deep. Friends turned foes, alliances shattered. But the mission remained clear. Humanity's hope rode on that fragile pod, drifting through the void, carrying secrets powerful enough to reshape the galaxy, and Captain Jara Steele swore she would stop at nothing to reclaim it. The escape pod drifted silently through the void, its precious cargo, the quantum core, secure but vulnerable. Inside, a small automated system maintained the core's fragile containment field, while the pod's navigation thrusters adjusted course toward a secret safe haven known only to Captain Jara Steele and a handful of trusted allies. Back aboard, the Resolute, the ship limped away from the Scylla Collective station, its hull scarred and battered, but its spirit unbroken. Captain Jara Steele stood on the bridge, eyes burning with resolve. "We lost the core," Malek said quietly. "But it's not gone. It's alive." Jara nodded, voice firm. "We'll find it." And when we do, the galaxy will know. Humans are no longer the ones to be mocked or underestimated. Echo's holographic form shimmered beside her. Captain, the Coalition remnant fleet is pursuing us, but their communication has been compromised. I am detecting a high likelihood of internal sabotage. Jara's jaw clenched. They're desperate. We have to stay one step ahead. She turned toward the crew. Prepare the ship for a jump to the Perseus sector. It's remote, but it holds the key to our next move. As the Resolute's engines ignited, flinging the ship toward the unknown, the escape pod continued its lonely voyage. Inside the pod, the automated system activated a signal beacon, coded and encrypted, transmitting the quantum core's position to an unexpected ally, Dr. Leah Soren, a brilliant scientist and one of the original engineers of the core's technology. In a hidden lab beneath the surface of a barren moon, Leah's eyes flickered to the holographic projection of the incoming message. They're alive, she whispered, fingers flying over the console. And they're counting on me. Meanwhile, aboard the Resolute, Captain Steele convened a council of her most trusted officers and the representatives of the Scylla Collective. We've seen betrayal, conspiracy, and corruption, Jara said. But humanity's strength lies, not just in technology or weapons, it lies in our resilience, our ability to adapt and to unite. Ranny Vox leaned forward. So what's the plan? Jara's eyes glittered with determination. We retrieve the core, we expose the conspiracy, and we ignite a new era, one where humanity commands respect, not scorn. Suddenly, Echo interrupted. Captain, incoming transmission, encrypted, but unmistakably from Admiral Tarek. Jara exchanged a glance with Malik before opening the channel. Tarek's face appeared weary but resolute. Captain Steele, I've broken through the sabotage. The Coalition remnant stands with you. The Council's corruption runs deep, but together we can root it out. Jara smiled grimly. Then let's finish this. As the Resolute neared the Perseus sector, sensors detected the escape pod's beacon. Found it, Malik announced. But we're not alone. Hostile ships closing in fast. The crew braced for battle as sleek enemy vessels emerged from the shadows. But this time, the Resolute was ready. Deploy gravity pulse cannon, Jara commanded. Target incoming. Ships. The weapon fired, rippling spacetime and disabling the enemy's engines. The Resolute surged forward, its pulse cannons firing in deadly precision. Docking sequence initiated, Malik said. We're bringing the pod aboard. The crew raced to secure the pod as alarms blared. The quantum core hummed with raw energy, a beacon of hope and power. In the command deck, Jara watched the tactical displays. This ends now. Echo projected a star map showing the heart of the Council's corrupted leadership, a massive station orbiting a dying star, a fortress of power and deceit. We strike at dawn, Jara said, for humanity, for the future. The final battle was fierce. The Resolute and its allies fought through waves of Council loyalists, their weapons cutting through steel and deceit alike. Jara led the charge, her resolve unshakable. Inside the Council station, Dr. Leah Soren worked alongside covert operatives to disable security grids and release classified data, revealing the conspiracy to the galaxy. As the station's defenses crumbled, Jara confronted the Council's puppet masters, a council of elites who had sought to suppress humanity's rise. With evidence of their treachery broadcast across every channel, the galaxy's opinion shifted. No longer would humanity be mocked or dismissed. The Resolute emerged victorious, battered but triumphant. The quantum core was safe, and with it the promise of a new era. Jara stood on the command deck looking out at the stars. We showed them the power of humanity, not just in war, but in unity, resilience, and hope. Malik smiled. The galaxy's never going to forget this ship. Jara nodded, voice soft but fierce. No, they'll remember the day the underdog became the leader. And with the stars as their witness, humanity's journey was only just beginning.